Hey everyone, this is Mikedot and welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with my bro Afromania. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I hope everybody had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. And for other people that don't live in our country, screw y'all, guys. America's
No, like I'm already just waving my hand saying don't say that, please. For the love of God.
No, I'm playing though, but no, seriously. Everybody that has a wonderful weekend, that's pretty good. But yeah, and for all our people that are listening across the globe, I hope you guys had a wonderful whatever y'all celebrate. So that's cool. So
very much so. Anyway, we got quite a few topics to discuss today. First topic regarding Apex Legends, and starting with season 22, they are actually splitting their battle pass into two parts, and fans are not happy about that. We also want to talk about the First Descendent again and how the game is very similar to Warframe, perhaps a little bit too similar, as well as another game, Destiny 2, as a lot of players are claiming that a lot of icons from Destiny 2 were basically wholesale copied into the First Descendant. And lastly, we would like to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows and the whole situation with that game, considering that Japanese gamers are not happy with the direction that Ubisoft is taking the series. And so starting off with again, Apex Legends, they recently announced that they are going to be splitting up their battle pass to quote unquote improve the experience in progression goals. But yeah, a lot of people are just seeing this as another pull for money, and again, a lot of people are not having it. If you could see the battle pass rewards on screen, basically it's the same as the last battle pass, but now split in half, and you have to pay like $10 for each battle pass or pay $20 for both. And yeah, it just seems kind of scummy to just split it in half, and like for what reason exactly, other than to just make extra money. Again, people in the comments and people and fans that are still playing Apex Legends are not happy with it and saying that this is just a very scummy like squeeze for money. And as someone who used to play Apex Legends, it's kind of scummy to see this as well. Yeah, I used to be a pretty big fan of the game and the whole huge field, like the team play aspect was pretty cool. It was also a little bit unbalanced, but it was a fun game for when I used to play. I think I played up until like season 5 before I dropped the game. But yeah, just this whole like new battle pass reward, just it ain't it, Chief. That's all I pretty much have to say. Like, what do you think?
I really don't understand the reason for this move, again, other than the fact that they want to try to squeeze as much money out of their loyal fan base as much as possible. Like, this doesn't really make much any sense at all in this whole situation. Again, it really shouldn't shock me, because this is EA. Like, it's sad. Like, I don't want to be in here saying like, oh, this is terrible, why they're doing this though. But it does feel like a very EA-ish move. It's in the game situation.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate that you're doing this to some of your hardcore and loyal fans that have been playing Apex Legends for this much. How long? This is 6 years of Apex now? 6, 7?
I mean, Apex Legends has been around for like quite some time. I remember
about 6 years, right? It would be that approaching.
It was okay. So it was like 2019 when it released. So yeah, that's right. Yeah,
about 5.
Right? Yeah, 5. Approaching 6. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
But and again, like in the comment section, people are not having it. In their like Twitter posts for the new season, people are saying like this ain't it. Like, what are you doing? You're not quote unquote improving the game. You're just trying to squeeze more money out of us, and it just sucks. Because again, it's a generally good game, and I generally love Respawn Entertainment, and it's kind of the reason why I played Apex in the first place, because like I love Titanfall and I love the Titanfall universe, and this is what the game is based off. Instead of them working on Titanfall 3, they're basically stuck to this game, it just sucks that all their talent is being wasted on this. Like,
well, I mean, it doesn't suck because Apex Legends clearly is a big success for EA
well, yeah,
and the company.
obviously,
You
but
know,
but Titanfall,
Yeah, I
is
know.
a much better game.
well, yeah, well, it's clear that they have no interest in making a new Titanfall, unfortunately, which is unfortunate. So, I feel like this is kind of this is the best that people can do at this moment. In terms of it, which is not bad, unfortunately. You know, it's really good. It's a very popular game though, but a little mercy would have been nice, like a little generosity to this in terms of this battle pass. It's really rough.
Very, very rough. Like,
are you trying to compete with Ubisoft right now? More to that company later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels like you're trying to compete with a lot of these companies and how shady we could be
like,
right
it's
now.
EA,
and stuff
Ubisoft, and Activision are. It's a race to the bottom with these companies, man. Like they're just trying to out awful each other.
Yeah, it's the Olympics right now when it comes to these three companies. Unfortunately, I'm making these decisions. So
very much so. I mean, what else can we really say about this? It sucks.
It just sucks.
The people agree that it sucks. Like, we agree that it sucks. I mean, there's nothing else we can really say, to be honest.
No, I agree. Yeah, but I feel like we just need to get it out there. It's kind of almost like a slow like news week too, like in terms of like we're in July, so like okay, let's do some dumb shit.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, slow news week in terms of just like
gaming in general. You know,
gaming controversies. I mean, actually, this month I would say like it was an insanely stacked month for video games, actually.
Yeah, well, in terms of like things that have been revealed and all that stuff, yeah, in terms of like the conferences that we had, yeah, you're absolutely right in terms of summer. But yeah, I feel like we're now kind of heading into the dog days into summer. Well, until Evo pops off, and you know,
true,
we'll have a conversation about that special.
I mean,
for that. So
before we go into the next topic, I mean, yeah, I just do want to say we have been playing quite a few games. Like, again, First Descendant, more on that later. Zenless Zone Zero, I'm still playing that, trying to get as high as I can to get my opinion on this game, because the fandom for this game has been very judgmental on people who judge the game a bit too early without experiencing everything that the game has to offer. And I don't want to be one of those people that put only like 5 hours into the game and say it sucks. So I'm going to get as much game time into that.
Do your due diligence and actually play through the game and actually experience it
as much as I can. Yeah. Also, another game that I'm actually looking into is a game called Once Human, which is like an MMO survival game. It actually looks very promising. The reason why I'm looking forward to that is because this game managed to ride off the heels of another game that everyone was looking forward to for a while before it turned out to be a huge scam, which was The Day Before. And basically, this Once Human game is basically what The Day Before was supposed to be, as an open world horror survival game where you actually are interacting in a giant world and building up your own territory and just completing missions and doing PvP. It looks actually pretty cool. I'm surprised that someone managed to actually take the concept that Day Before was promising to everybody and actually make a full functional game with it. That's what I'm kind of looking forward to. I mean, is there any other games you're looking forward to, like this month in particular?
Not really. I mean, I get it. Right now, I'm playing, like you said, the First Descendants right now at the moment. There's not really any big games I'm looking forward to. I am looking forward to the new Tekken 8 update, where they're gonna add a new character. That's gonna be that's really what I'm looking forward to. And really, Maximum Football right now. It's the next game that I'm actually kind of looking forward to when it pops out.
I saw you looking at that.
Yeah, because they at their fest in stream, they actually opened up an open beta for that for 2 weeks, and I have to admit, I had a blast playing that game.
Okay.
Really cool in terms of like the football simulator situation.
Okay, I need a question. Is that like officially licensed?
No, so it's basically like an open source football game right now from Maximum Games. So they did release this a couple of years back. I think they released a 2019 version, and it sucked. And it was from a Canadian company, so they end up selling this to a new company right now that has now the Maximum license right now. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's open, it's free to play, which will drop up. And what's really cool about it, it's a football simulator right now that is allowing you as the player to basically customize your own team. So you can customize your own logo, your own uniforms, everything down to the hands, the bits, to even your own stadium. So like you really have a choice to really customize your own game. And for what they're showing right now, it looks very good. Again, it's nowhere near the level of what EA's college football is bringing out right now, if you've seen the trailers to that, or whatever Madden's bringing right now. But for a AA game, the product looks really amazing in terms of just the graphics, the details, the little things they got right. And it really seems like right now they are really doing a great job of listening to the fans, listening to the feedbacks. Again, I played the first week of the game. As much as I enjoyed some of the parts of the game, it felt a little slow. So within the next week, they opened up and they extended it for another week, and they increased the speed, and it was a completely different game and a totally different experience. And they were really able to step that up in terms of the gameplay and the mechanics. Again, they were basic levels though, but I like what they're getting from Maximum Football. So yeah, that's one of the games I'm actually hopefully looking for. I think they're hoping to drop this somewhere later into fall. So that's my big shout out for Maximum Football game. I'm very excited for that when it drops.
Okay, that's pretty good. I mean, I know you could talk about the sports for quite some time, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm glad that the indie space is starting to blow up with titles like this, because the quality is obviously getting better and better, especially when you have stuff like Unreal Engine 5 now pushing the limits of what an indie developer can actually make,
Which I think Maximum Football is running on right now. So
like
yeah.
Unreal Engine 5. I mean, we have like a friend, like an old friend that's actually working on like a Doom style like FPS using Unreal Engine 5, and he says it's very intuitive. It's like it's just like I wouldn't, obviously it requires some knowledge of like coding languages, but if you can get past that hump, you can basically make anything.
And yeah, and let's be honest, with a lot of these tools too, you don't even really need to learn how to code as much anymore. You don't really need to learn the language. Back in the day, it's starting to become more accessible, where anybody, at least, that have the creative imagination, and alongside what AI is doing right now, with these combinations, you really just need to put in prompts and be able to just kind of set things off, and you can basically make a decent game right off the bat right now. Again, we talk about that a lot, about that idea of jobs, but again, I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now. So
yeah,
it's really cool. Some cool stuff, man.
Very much so. All right, so moving on to our next topic, we want to discuss the First Descendant and how a lot of people are noticing how much it's taking like influence or just basically straight up copying games like Warframe and Destiny. But as mentioned before, now a lot of people are claiming that it's also copying a bunch of icons in game that are pulled straight from Destiny 2. And some people have basically posted some similarities to a bunch of icons from Destiny 2 that you can find in the First Descendant. And yeah, looking at the icons, they are very similar. I mean, almost some of, in fact, I can't even say similar. Some of them look like they were just ripped straight off from like Destiny 2. Like, geez. But besides that, also it does copy a lot of Warframe's monetization, as well as its progression systems, like the whole, you have to unlock slots for your characters, slots for your weapons. You have to increase the ability slots for upgrades and stuff like that, just like in Warframe. It's all very similar. Even more similar is like how you like the certain special like Ultimate Descendants was basically like prime Warframes in the Warframe game. Yeah, it's starkly similar. And like another thing is that a lot of people are complaining that like it's extremely like expensive and whatnot. And yeah, a lot of the packages, like the Ultimate Bunny package, like it's just like the most popular package, which is basically like an ultimate form of bunny, which costs like $100 like something to unlock that. Even though you can unlock that just by playing the game, but you have to do a lot of grinding. You have to deal with a lot of RNG. Again, just like Warframe. And again, also like Warframe, each and every time they release a new Prime, a new Prime Warframe, they also have the Prime Warframe store where you can buy stuff that's like upwards of like $120 for a Warframe and their accessories. And yeah, like when you put that out there, the pricing isn't too like. In fact, I can't even say that it's a good thing, because obviously both pricings are ridiculous. But again, this game is taking some of the worst aspects of Warframe and bringing it into its other game, and it's just like, yeah, it just put a sour taste in people's mouth, especially considering that unlike Digital Extremes, Nexon doesn't have the best reputation when it comes to monetization and service. So that's where a lot of people like draw the line with this kind of thing.
No, and I totally agree with that segment, because I know we did a quick review of the first Descendant, but then again, I'll admit we really didn't play
too much. That's why I wanted to say, we said it's like more of an impressions rather than a review.
Yeah, it was more of an impressions of the game, because I was still really kind of playing into it. But now the more that I sit down and I'm playing into a game, again, we didn't mention about the fact that it was very repetitive in terms of doing the same mission types over and over again, and again, very tedious in terms of, again, the type with weapon crafting and stuff like that, where you're fumbling with the best weapons and you're looking at the best stats, and you really just can't seem to it doesn't feel like a game where you can just kind of just enjoy, instead of just picking a weapon that you feel comfortable with and then building with. I think you do have that option where you can do the weapons level up, which does Destiny have that kind of option?
I'm not too sure.
Okay, I do know this. I know that they do have the same card system where you can modify your weapons to the same way in Warframe. Like, they really took a lot from Warframe. Let's just call that, like, almost down to the T. It feels like either they took a lot of the game design and philosophy, and then while they took some of the weapons, the weapon mining and some of the UI. I think were moments where some of the UI was literally plucked from Destiny 2. So it feels like they did a poor, blatant job of, paying homage to those two games.
Yeah, I mean, we can't even really say homage. It's like they just copy the systems wholesale.
It feels like copy and paste. Unfortunately,
they did copy the systems like wholesale.
I
mean, in some cases they've been proven to work, but they also pulled the systems that are just like, very egregious.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like they sat down and plucked those systems and kind of put it in this game. I get it, and it's not like I'm sitting here. We're not sitting here bashing the game. Yeah, honestly, it's still an enjoyable game. It's just clearly there's obvious things that the team just took, and instead of really kind of they're taking the time to at least cover it up or at least change it up in a sense, it just feels completely copy and paste in certain moments. And also, man, I feel like other than like Bunny, the Bunny character, the game design of the characters are not that really memorable.
I mean, I think some of them are style-wise. Obviously, Bunny like stands out the most. But
other than Bunny, I just feel like, and maybe that even the defensive character,
Ajax.
But other than that, I just every other character feels a bit generic.
Yeah, I mean,
in terms of design,
yeah,
it feels very generic. Like, And I also noticed that the palette too feels very grayish and very mood and very earthy. Like it doesn't seem like there's a lot of separations of the levels that you're playing that well, which I think aids into the repetitiveness.
Yeah, until you like get into like the jungle area. I mean, yeah, the tones do feel a bit too like bleak, but I mean it does improve down the line.
Yeah,
But I do think, yeah, early on the areas do feel a bit meh.
again, a lot of like you said, a lot of those level designs do feel very Destiny 2ish. Like it feels like they just smashed those things together pretty much.
Okay, so the only reason why I'm okay with the game in its current state is because Warframe, the game that I have 2,000 hours in, is a game that did not start off amazing. Like playing the game back in closed beta, it was like the most mediocre like third-person shooter ever. It was only through years of updates and refinement that it got to the place where it is. Like, and the reason I stuck with Warframe for so long is because, again, I saw the potential in the game. I didn't really think it was ever going to blow up in the way that it did, to the point where it has thousands of players and it has its own like convention each and every year. Yeah, it's just like, it's a very impressive game. And in fact, the only thing I miss from old Warframe is that it was actually had a much more moody atmosphere compared to the way it looks now. In fact, like, yeah, Warframe, I think it does, like, the First Descendant looks like closer to the way that Warframe does now in certain aspects compared to how Warframe used to look like. Man, I really wish they didn't take away the moody atmosphere of Warframe when it was in closed beta. I like that way better. But still, overall, again, Warframe, it took years to get to where it is now.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm willing to wait and see where like the First Descendant goes years from now, if it makes it that far.
And I think that's kind of where my point, where I do concern, is because of these kind of issues in terms of how blatantly they've taken from Warframe in Destiny. Do you fear that might turn some people off from the building of this game moving forward in terms of building?
Absolutely. Some people are just gonna see, oh, this is just like rip off Warframe. It's just Destiny with waifus. Nah, pass. Also, just Korean developer. No, Nexon. No. Plenty of people are gonna have their reasons for not wanting to support this game, and I don't blame them. They can support whatever they want. I personally think the game is fine, despite obviously taking elements here, and obviously it takes certain those like elements because they work. Other than the icons, that's going a little bit too far. But other than gameplay elements, it's not like Digital Extreme has a patent on like monetization like elements. So
yeah,
if they want to take those elements because they work, fine.
And it's not the first game to do this, and clearly it's not going to be the last.
Like Anthem. Like, remember Anthem? Like,
yeah.
Ah, jeez. But I'm still looking forward to seeing where the game goes. Okay, so for our last and probably most controversial topic of the day, Assassin's Creed Shadows is basically gaining a lot of negative attention, especially from Japanese gamers, as Ubisoft seems to be rubbing them the wrong way, especially when it comes to promoting the game. At one point, they were basically giving out statues to streamers, and they basically got the kanji wrong, basically showing a lack of care for their promotion. They also basically stole a war banner from a Japanese war reenactment group, and they had to issue a public apology about that. And basically, there's just a lot of inconsistencies about this game, especially when it comes to the main like samurai protagonist Yasuke, and basically this whole like situation with whether or not he was a samurai or not. And it's really upsetting people because the history of Yasuke is basically shrouded in mystery. There's a lot of misinformation going on regarding Yasuke, and whether or not he was actually a samurai under Nobunaga. But yeah, as it goes, like there is no official like noteworthy documentation suggesting that he was actually a samurai. And the thing is, Ubisoft is openly saying that this is supposed to be like a historical like look into Japan and Yusuke's history, but in the same breath they're also trying to say that Assassin's Creed is quote unquote historical fiction. Now, a lot of people are like really upset about the whole mention of the game being historical fiction, especially considering, again, a lot of details Ubisoft got wrong with this game. And they're basically trying to say that, yeah, it's fiction, but this is also historically accurate with Yasuke. And yeah, Japan basically got really upset about that. And it's just basically at this point, they said enough is enough. So at this point, one YouTuber decided to launch a petition on change.org regarding Assassin's Creed Shadows in an attempt to get the game pulled. And so far, at the time of this recording, it has 77,000 signatures. It's just pretty insane, and it's mostly from Japanese people. When the petition first started, it was mostly a lot of like English speaking like people along with Japanese, but now they changed it so that like almost everyone who's updating it is Japanese. You can just look at the petition yourself. Like it's just miles and miles of like people, mostly Japanese. Of course, you still do have a lot of English speaking like people signing the petition. I haven't signed the petition because I feel like me signing the petition, despite that me not being Japanese, would sully the what the petition is for. And I personally think that if you're not like a native Japanese speaker, you probably shouldn't sign this petition either. I really think this is an issue that the Japanese really need to focus on, because this is their culture that's being put on display here, and they really feel that it's not being portrayed in the best way. So what thoughts do you have on this situation? I mean, I know that's a lot to just unload, because this is a very, very, very touchy topic about like culture and whatnot. And yeah, I could just see your face, and it's like, yeah, what can I say without pissing people off on this topic?
Okay.
Yeah, take your time.
I'm not gonna say I don't care about the whole situation. Okay. So let's start about this. The whole issue is that there's a black guy running around in Japanese culture. Okay. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I for a person that have you played any of the Assassin's Creed games?
A little bit.
Okay. So ideally, when it comes to Assassin's Creed, through all the games that I've played all the way up to Black Flag. Mm-hmm. So I have played a little bit of games. So ideally, in terms of all these games, it is fiction. Mm-hmm. It is historical fiction. Well, basically, where they put the character in games, in these situations. Like they'll make a character and they'll put them in these historical fiction settings where they are, and while you're walking through this world, where you're walking through this fictional historical world. Let's take example of Assassin's Creed 2. It's probably the most popular one out of all of them, pretty much. Ezio Auditore.
Well, I think
character. Let me finish. Character doesn't really exist, right?
Yeah.
But they've put them in situations where you have Leonardo da Vinci. Right now, mm-hmm. He's his weapons handler, right? Historically, that's never happened, right? Mm-hmm. But it's put in fictional ideas where they have fictional moments and monuments and situations that are planted throughout the whole game. That's how I feel like. Moving forward, let's actually take another game that I'm going to say. Assassin's Creed 3. The story of Connor. It's the beginning of Connor, the American Revolution, right? Mm-hmm. there are so many like fictional moments. They have those grand moments. Like I think one of the big gameplay moments that I do remember is the Paul Revere. You know, everybody knows that Paul Revere. And you know what Paul Revere did, right?
Yeah.
British are coming, right? Running
Yeah.
to the big. You know how they set that moment up?
Yeah.
They have Connor over there, and Paul Revere is riding in your back. So you're basically escorting him, and he's an annoying son of a bitch. He's like an annoying. Hey guys, point there. Hey, the British are coming. May drive, make a left. He's like so annoying in that game right now. Like again, it's goofy though, but it's a fictional way of presenting these historical moments. So okay, so I guess now it comes to me and Yasuke. I honestly really don't care, because at the end, again, it's just a character that's been used. Whether or not, okay, so if historically, I've heard, is the character a samurai? Was he more of a seraph? To me, he's just a character guiding you through Japan. All right, he's just kind of whatever. If it's a fictional moment, and and from what I'm also hearing, he's also a bit of a folklore in Japan as well in certain situations. It feels like there's a lot, but to me, I just look at it as a character that's being guided through whatever the fictional idea of what Japan is. Now, is it historically accurate? Probably not, but I mean, you can even go into games like Ghost of Tsushima. There's not a ton of accuracies in that game either. You know, it's a beautiful game, but not everything's all fictionally accurate about that game. But that's not going to sacrifice an ability to tell them a story or the game. So with that being said, I'm not really concerned about that. And people also forget there's another Japanese character in the game too. But you know, we don't really care about that. With that, so with me and the character, I really don't really care. If you like the character, you don't honestly have to play that character throughout the game. You can just dust them off and move over. With that being said, now with the whole, I guess, the taking of the, you just said it.
The war banner.
The war banner situation. That I feel like that is a little bit of negligence on their part, knowing if you are going to quote unquote add in these little moments of Japanese culture, and that was one of the things that you end up taking out without doing your research. That's just negligence on your part without doing proper channels and looking sore to it. But then again, based on what you're telling me between the Yasuke situation and now this, it seems like Japanese was already on their ass on this. Like they were already in the shit list of what Ubisoft was doing in terms of the making of this game.
Okay, well, the thing is, it wasn't until the Xbox like Wire interview that pushed them over the edge. They were just vaguely like, I mean, okay, it's fiction, it's whatever. It's just that, and then the whole situation with the statue where they sent out a bunch of like Japanese statues to a bunch of Japanese influencers that got the kanji wrong. Like that's kind of annoying. That's like, but it's again
insensitive.
It's very insensitive. But again, it's the interview that was the straw that broke their back. Okay. Because again, Japan has nothing wrong with black characters, especially when it comes to Yasuke, because again, there has been he has been represented in like media and Japanese games,
multiple forms
like
of media.
Samurai Warriors 4 had a like playable Yasuke as like a warrior. You also have like Afro Samurai, which is based off Yasuke and whatnot. But again, the reason why they're so upset is because the article basically said like, we basically just wanted like a Japanese person. We wanted a non-black, non-Asian person to be quote unquote our eyes in the Japanese era. And they basically also again say that this is going to be a historical lesson for all the people who are playing in this game. Because like they want to have their cake and eat it too. That's what the problem is.
I totally understand that, and I get it. And I'm all. It's weird because we do try to preach representation. I totally understand about that too. Like, and I feel like they did. Do you feel like because they added the second character, which is clearly of Japanese descent, as a balance for that. You feel like because they wanted, okay, we're going to kind of push this idea of putting a character, because again, this is not really the first time Assassin's Creed has done this and put in characters that haven't been in fictional settings. Like again, like I said, Connor, granted, is an Indian character, actual Native American character representing America. Again, the last game that I played was Black Flag, was Connor, and then, he was kind of thrown in there to represent all these other, to represent these actual real pirates through the time of Nassau.
And then another Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed Liberation, where a lot of people forgot Assassin's Creed Liberation, where you play as a black woman.
Yes. Yeah, this was the same time around. Before, it was actually the prelude before Assassin's Creed 3 for the PS3. Yes, where you play as a African American. I think she was half. Either way, she was a slave, and then she was a commoner in Louisiana. Yes, during New Orleans. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like again. This obviously a lot of the Assassin's Creed game does like to just like obviously play with using historical moments as a set
characters.
Piece. Yeah. But it's still, they do treat them with as much respect as possible and accuracy as possible. And it just seemed like, okay, I remember there was one Assassin's Creed game. Which one was it? It's like the Sistine Chapel. It had something to do with the Sistine Chapel.
That would have to be either Assassin's Creed 2 or Revelations with the Byzantine Empire. So it would have to be the next. It would have to be after Assassin's Creed 2. It was the next game. It was dealing with the Borgies. I forgot the type it in. It was still Ezio Auditore. It's his trilogy story, but it's probably Assassin's Creed 2. It's Brotherhood. It would have to be Brotherhood.
Brotherhood. Yeah.
Either two. It's Brotherhood. Yep.
Okay.
Brotherhood.
All right. So yeah, because someone told me this like a while ago about something regarding the Sistine Chapel, and they're getting like it was some kind of like historical place that got burned down and in real life, and they were in the process of rebuilding it, and they when in the process of rebuilding it, was it the chapel? I need to look into this.
Then it's probably not the 16 Chapel.
It was some kind of place that burned down in real life. It was like some kind of historical place that got burned down. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is that when they were building this place, they actually turned to Assassin's Creed and looked at the model of the building in order to use that as a reference in order to rebuild it. I don't think you're talking. I think it's the wrong game. I think you're talking about. It was it's the French one when they go into France and Notre Dame got burnt down. Yeah,
and they turned to him for a reference point to rebuild Notre Dame. That's the game that you're talking about.
There we go.
It's a French one. You're talking about the one when they got it with Paris. Yes.
There we go.
That's the game you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's because Ubisoft is a French country, so ideally they would have that kind of access to them. But yes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we had to like go through that whole thought train.
Probably like the people right now listen to us like, what do you should know this, faggot, you stupid now. But yeah, no, in that situation, but I think again it points even more to the point on how much it's more fiction history in these situations in terms of game models and designs and stuff like that. Yeah, I think so. But I think it leans more into the idea of the fiction history that they want to create in terms of the idea of the story element that's being added to it. So again, in terms of if you're offended by those characters, I mean, that's why I'm saying if that character is just simply used as a vessel to kind of tell these stories, to be able to tell the story that you want. Again, and it feels like, yeah, I mean, maybe would they wanted to go as a complete man and a woman character in that, but if Yasuke, I just kind of look at him as simply as that vessel that you're just stepping in, because he is a fish out. I look at it as more like a fish out of water character. Like if you were in a new land and you like, say if you were like, say you're in Japan, you are being used as that fish out of water to kind of explore Japan through your eyes. And that's how I view Yasuke as that character. He is so completely different, fresh out of water, something different, but he is our eyes to go through this fictional world of Japan and how they want to say. Now, in terms of how accurate they are, clearly it seems like Ubisoft's not doing a good job of that. Again,
obviously.
Clearly nobody's happy what Ubisoft is doing in terms of that. It seems like Japan wants to beat their asses pretty much on that, but but in terms of this, it feels like it's been so par for the course of Assassin's Creed. That's why I'll admit, like, that's why I really didn't want to have that conversation, because like I played Assassin's Creed to know that's all what Assassin's Creed has done through a lot of their games at this point. It just seems like, again, where we are within times of situations like this, it's just, oh, now they put this character on it, we just gotta make a big stink about it. So that's where I was coming from in that whole situation. So,
and that's understandable. Yeah, I get it. That's what the games used to be. But you also have to accept that we now live in such a more culturally sensitive world now. And so you can't really just like, a lot of people are obviously going to look for things to get upset about. And to be fair, the Japanese were cool with this until the interview. At that point where they said, like, yeah, you're not treating our history with any sort of respect, so that's why we're coming down on you. And I kind of do have to side with them and just how this whole situation is being handled, especially considering the whole situation with Wikipedia and how there was basically an editing war on the page about how if Yasuke was a samurai or not, to the point where the page got locked, and basically it's just like you can't touch it anymore. In the Japanese Wikipedia, however, that still remains, and it basically says still in the Japanese Wikipedia that there is no knowledge, there's no record that he was a samurai. There was knowledge that he was a retainer, there was knowledge that he was possibly Bushi, which stands for warrior, but Bushi is not the same as being a samurai. Samurai is a title that you have to like earn.
Oh yeah,
it's a title, and it comes with all sorts of stipulations. For one of the biggest thing that, again, the Japanese YouTuber pointed out, I'll probably put the name of the Japanese YouTuber on screen. But then the Japanese YouTuber basically say that as a samurai, if you're basically on your last leg, you have to. What's the word? Is it
seppuku?
Is it seppuku or is it harakiri? I get the two mixed up. I think it's seppuku.
It's seppuku. It's
you
seppuku.
basically
harakiri is committing suicide. Seppuku is more of an honorable way. I hope that I'm getting that right. I'm pretty sure it's an honorable way of committing. Yeah. So.
But yeah, basically you have to like take your own life so you can die with your honor intact.
Yes.
But it's already. But the one historical thing is that when Nobunaga died, like Yasuke didn't commit seppuku. He ran. He said he got the hell out of there, and then he got captured and turned it back, and he got made into a slave again. But yeah, that one little detail probably suggests that he wasn't a samurai if he didn't go by samurai code. At least that's what I feel. At least, again, that's what some of these Japanese YouTubers are saying to me, and they do have some like documentation, or what limited documentation there is about the guy.
But you know what, within the same breath, when you brought this up, I stumbled on other Japanese documentary people that were saying something also completely differently. Like they said that there was some kind of nobility with this character, which again, if there is so much back and forth information, to me, I honestly don't care. Again, at the end of the day, I simply look at this as simply as a character to go through the eyes of Japan, nothing more, nothing less. And because I feel like they knew about this controversy, that's why they gave you in a second character that is actually Japanese. Like, it's right there. You can play as the fucking character right there if you want. So I mean, if that's a cop out, okay, great, whatever. But it's there. Like, it's not like they didn't do this. Like, it's you can play it. Like, That character's there.
I get it.
I
mean, I know. Yes, I get it. I know you're annoyed because everyone's hyper focusing on Sasuke and not Naoe.
It's not even about the it's just like I didn't really care. It's just at the end of the day, it's just a character just to go through the goddamn game. At the end of the day, it's just simple as that. Like you said, it's so much focus on the hypersensitive bullshit right now. It's like, you fucking just enjoy the game right now, man. If you don't want to buy, like, I get it. If it's bothering you this much, don't fucking buy it. Like, I get it, and you're gonna you're gonna vote with your money on that, and I'm totally understandable about that. But at the end of the day, I just want for the gameplay to speak for itself. I think I've always hopefully been consistent about that. Let the gameplay speak for itself and not come down with all this British bullshit before we never even before we don't even get a chance on gameplay or actually be able to play or put your hands on it to actually have a formal opinion. It just seems like we're always jumping on these opinions real quick just because we're fucking sensitive and we're just not getting back to playing games again, just be able to just play through it and let's just find out if the game's good or not. That's just where I feel like where I'm at right now in terms of the whole situation. But again, going back to in terms of respecting the culture and where Ubisoft, it just seems like Ubisoft's team has been just very lazy and just not been doing their research, or their HR team's not on point when they're doing the research and building this game to make sure that they're crossing their P's and Q's and making sure they're not putting everything on blast. Because like you said, right now the Japanese culture right now is not really happy in how they've handled the quote-unquote the next Assassin's Creed game at the moment, because everybody's been looking forward to Assassin's Creed going to Japan because Assassins and like I thought that, to me, I always thought that was stupid, because I really did think that was special. I feel like the reason why Assassin's Creed was special because they touched on other things that wasn't, it just felt way too much on the nose, right? Like ninja assassins. That's why I wasn't really big on them going to Japan and beginning with in the first place. I thought, like, the fact that it touched on other cultures in the assassin in that mode was very interesting. To me, I wasn't really turned on by that, but we're here right now because of it, and I think Ubisoft needs to do a better job, I think, in terms of due diligence when you're handling, like you said, important cultures and stuff like that, and making sure that you're not offensive. You're not really being too offensive to everybody on that. You're not going to make everybody happy, though, but there could have been a better job of crowd control on certain situations and moments like this. I think the character's an opinion that is up for everybody for debate, but everything else could have been handled with better care. I understand where you're coming from, and again, my opinion right now is that, it's a game that I've only played Assassin's Creed a handful of times. I've never been big into the series, so I'm obviously not going to pick it up. And Ubisoft in their I do think that the level of disrespect, because I have a lot of respect for Japanese culture. I listen to manga, I listen to Japanese music a lot. I've been trying to learn Japanese. I've been failing at that. I swear I'll learn my Japanese on something other than Duolingo. But overall, I'm just pointing out there, never use Duolingo or any language app as your main learning tool. It doesn't work. If you want to learn the language, go out to a native Japanese speaker and just ask, how do you speak this language? And just learn from them, and they'll teach you. Only ever use language apps as a supplement to reinforce what you already know. Don't use them as your main learning tool. But other than that, just going by the perspective of some of these Japanese YouTubers and how they feel about the situation. It's not the fact that Yasuke is in the game that upsets them. It's the disrespecting of their culture that's upsetting them. That's fair. I think that's where we have to make the clarification about. Exactly. I agree on that.
And that's exactly. And then personally, obviously, the petition isn't gonna get the game pulled. Ubisoft is dead set on getting this game put out. There's way too much money riding on this, so they're not going to halt this game or make any changes because of a few thousand like angry gamers, but still. I feel like this is going to be their least like profitable like Assassin's Creed game if they keep going down this path. And with the rising costs of gaming right now and the failure that is games like Skull and Bones, which was supposed to be like an extension of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, they can't afford these like financial like f-ups. So
no, it's I agree. Right now the controversy is not really happening. It's not well for Ubisoft at the moment. I do agree with you on that.
Very much so. I mean, again, it's a touchy topic, and like it's obviously it's hard to discuss this thing without getting emotions involved, but I think we got through it okay.
Yeah, as best as we can.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, that's it for this episode. What do you think about the topics we discussed here today? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you liked what we do here, please rate, comment, and subscribe. I am Mikedot with Afromania, and we are saying peace.
Take care.